Edgar Markov goes head-to-head with a bunch of quote-unquote strong decks. Find out who gets to play Magic and who doesn't, next on Commander Replay. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some hyper-aggressive Edgar Markov. Let's take a look at our opening hand. Ooh, I think we got a mulligan that one. We have no black mana. This hand is a Mana Crypt and a Winter Orb. Yeah, this hand's gonna be a keeper. So we find ourselves in a game for strong decks. We'll go ahead and keep this hand. Ooh, there's a Bloodline Keeper. We don't have double black yet. That's a little bit frustrating. So I guess we play a Swamp, play a Mana Crypt, play Olivia's Bloodsworn, get an Edgar Markov trigger, and we'll leave the one floating. And we will pass the turn. A black mana off the top would be amazing. So as I mentioned, this game was labeled strong decks. Interestingly, someone showed up with a Wauki. Not exactly a commander associated with high levels of play, at least as far as I'm aware. But we'll see. There are some combos that can exist in black and red, so we'll see what opponent's up to. They start with a turn 1 Expedition map. As I mentioned, we're facing down a Wauki, Zacama, Primal Calamity, Muzzio, Visionary Architect. What's Muzzio do? Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the highest converted mana cost among artifacts you control. You may reveal an artifact card from among them, put it onto the battlefield, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So that's definitely going to be an artifact deck, some sort of artifact combo. That's going to bring it back to our turn. We get a Mana Crypt flip, we'll go tails. Lost the flip. And go down to 37. We draw a Mountain, which is not black mana, which is very unfortunate. So play the Mountain. That does give us access to Fire Covenant in case we need to shoot some stuff. I don't think we go Winter Orb just yet, but probably very soon. I think we wait for opponents to tap out with 2 or 3 mana and then get them like that. In the meantime, who do we attack first? I guess we attack Zacama. I've seen Zacama just wreck games on like turn 4. Don't really know what the Wauki's up to, which is always scary. Ooh, opponent plays an Urborg. That helps us out so much. Oh my god. That helps us out so much. They're going to crack their Expedition map. Are they going for Cabal Coffers? Yep, going for Cabal Coffers. Swiftfoot Boots coming down for the Zacama. Swiftfoot Boots for the Muzzio. Brings it back to our turn. Mana Crypt flip. We'll try heads this time. Won the flip. There's a Vindicate. I'm sure that'll be helpful at some point. Play this Plains. We have a choice right here between the Bloodline Keeper, which is something that I kind of like, or the Promise of Power, which I also like. I think we go Promise of Power right here, so we'll draw 5 cards and lose 5 life. I probably should have planned that a little bit better, because now we're going to have to discard 2 to hand size, which isn't the best, but we will go to combat. Who to attack? I guess we go back at Zacama. So this moment, we'll discard the Fire Covenant and the Waves of Aggression, since we can use it from our graveyard anyway. Seems like it makes sense. Next turn, we're probably going to look at the Winter Orb. Mind Stone for the Wauki opponent. And a Magerite Stone. Interesting. So as I mentioned, we're playing Edgar Markov, which is 3 red, white, black for a 4/4 with Eminence. Whenever you cast another vampire spell, if Edgar Markov is in the command zone or on the battlefield, create a 1/1 black vampire creature token. Once it's in play, Edgar Markov has First Strike and Haste, and whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. Pretty good abilities. There's a Wayward Swordtooth for our opponent. That is a pretty good card. It's going to get their mana ramp going. Puts the Swiftfoot Boots on the Wayward Swordtooth. So yeah, I think this turn is going to be the turn for Winter Orb. Tyrant Dynamo coming down for the Muzzio opponent. Back to our turn. Mana Crypt trigger. Let's go heads. Won the flip. It's been heads all 3 times. Vampiric Tutor for us. Do we get anything out of the Ancient Tomb if we paint ourselves? I don't think so. Because of the Winter Orb that we're going to cast, I don't think so. So let's play the Swamp. I'm going to go with Bloodline Keeper right here, actually. I think Bloodline Keeper is just a little bit better than Vampire Nocturnus, I think. And then we're going to try to lock the game out with Winter Orb right here. So Winter Orb coming down. Each player gets to untap only 1 land. And Muzzio is going to have the most mana, so that's probably the most concerning to me. So I think we're going to start paying a little bit of attention to them. Curse of Disturbance. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, each opponent puts a 2/2 black zombie onto the battlefield. Who is that targeting? Targeting the Muzzio opponent. Interesting. Well, that's going to give us some incentive to attack over there. Opponent's going to use the Magerite Stone on our Bloodline Keeper. No real impact there. Ooh, Muzzio is a Mishra's Workshop out, which, if you can only untap 1 land, that is a good one. They have some blue mana right now, so they'll be able to do a little bit. I think Muzzio is the scariest right now. Because of how much mana they can generate, they can generate more than anyone else at the table currently, under the Winter Orb, so... Mirror Works for the Muzzio opponent. Interesting. It's a fun little card. We get to untap 1 land, we will make it a swamp. Mana Crypt flip for us. Let's go heads again. Won the flip. I'm not going to use the Vampiric Tutor right here. Don't think there's anything we need. at this exact second. There's a Falconwrath Gorger. Play this Ancient Tomb. So right here, we tap to make a vampire. We now have 5 vampires, so we're going to flip the Bloodline Keeper. And we will attack the Muzzio opponent. The Curse of Disturbance is going to trigger. So 2 zombies coming into play. Muzzio goes down to 27. Chromatic Lantern for the Zacama opponent. Oh, man, it is rough to tap out for a mana rock like that with Winter Orb down. Opponent's going to cast their commander. So Muzzio coming into play. Not enough mana to activate it, though. They do have the mana to put some Swiftfoot Boots on, though. We get to untap 1 land. I'm actually going to untap the Mountain right here, since it can make black mana anyway. Mana Crypt trigger. Go heads again. Won the flip again. Heads all 6 times. Still not going to use the Vampiric Tutor just yet. There's an Anguished Unmaking. The question is, do we want to slam this Falconwrath Aristocrat right here? Blasphemous Act is something that the Wauki could have and that they could get down pretty easily. So we want to be a little bit careful about that, but I don't know. I think we put our foot on the gas right now. So play the Falconwrath Aristocrat. Gonna get another Edgar Markov trigger. Swing everything at the Muzzio. And the Curse of Disturbance will trigger. Ooh, nice. So opponent goes to exactly 0. Opponent is down. Opponent was a little bit salty about the fact that they didn't actually get to play Magic. Yeah, when I say strong decks, I mean strong decks. I don't want to call this deck competitive yet because it still needs a lot more playtesting, but it's certainly in the conversation of doing some really unfair things. So a little bit more playtesting, a little bit more tuning. I think it'll get into that competitive realm. Ooh, Illness in the Ranks. That's not a good card for us. Luckily, all of our tokens are 2/2s at the moment, or at least they were. Getting pumped from the Bloodline Keeper. Wauki coming into play. Wauki can actually kill some of our stuff. And Fist of the Demigod. Interesting. We get to untap 1 land. I'm actually going to untap the Plains in case we want to cast Anguished Unmaking or Vindicate. Mana Crypt flip. Gotta stay with heads. Won the flip again. It's been heads 7 times in a row. We lost the first one because we went tails, but there's a mountain. Interesting. So I think we Vindicate the Illness in the Ranks. And the Zacama scoops it up. Leave 1 floating. And go to combat. Sadly, this probably won't be enough to kill the Wauki, and they're going to take a few of our things with them. Zacama also salty about the Winter Orb. So Wauki gonna block a token, and a zombie gonna block a token. We'll sacrifice the blocked token to the Falconwrath Aristocrat, just in case. Give it indestructible. I don't think it's gonna matter for any reason, since it'll be gone by the time it goes back to our opponent's turn. But opponent goes down to 13, gets to untap 1 land. Moment of truth right here. They're gonna need a Blasphemous Act. They untap Cabal Coffers, so that's not Blasphemous Act mana. Right here, I will untap a Plains, just in case. Mana Crypt flip. Gotta stay with heads. It's been the last 7. Won the flip. Heads 8 times in a row. How about that? There's a Tithe. Tithe is interesting. I don't think we need it. We can play it during our opponent's turn if we need to. So let's go to combat. Swing with everything. Opponent's gonna block with the Wauki. Gonna do 2 damage to our Falconwrath Aristocrat. Okay. Oh, it's got Wither. How about that? So Falconwrath Aristocrat getting a little smaller. Opponent's gonna untap it and probably shoot it again. First strike, takes down the token. Gonna shoot down the Falconwrath Aristocrat. Can't even give it indestructible because of the Wither, but I think we still have lethal. So there it is. Hyper-aggressive Edgar Markov strikes again. I've been trying to play this deck here and there where I can, and I've tuned it up just a little bit more, cut a few things from the last go-round that I think were a little bit too expensive, weren't quite working. Yeah, so, like I've said before, this is the deck you break out when your friends are playing their really unfair decks. This is not a deck that you want to break out for a casual meta. We are looking to lock out the game with things like Winter Orb, Armageddon, Ravages of War. We want to use double combats. Beside the fact that Edgar Markov's Eminence ability is a broken mechanic anyway. So this deck is very, very powerful. And what's interesting about it is the core of the deck, like most of the creatures and most of the cards that you want to use are actually really cheap. There are a couple expensive ones with things like Mana Crypt, and Ravages of War is also not cheap. But they're not super critical to the way that the deck works, so you could run without them or, find a more budget-friendly substitute for their place. And the deck would still work very, very well. So just a very powerful, pretty unfair deck. Opponent's real salty that I said bring strong decks, and I don't think they brought strong decks. Someone says strong decks, you better bring some interaction, because things might be over real quick if you don't. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.